Did you know, Path of Exile was always intended to have 7 different classes to choose from? The Scion was the final class to be introduced and was released alongside the full game in October 2013, but its origins go back to the early years of development. Files hidden away in the game's code reveal the texture for the Scion was named Adventurer, and at one point, the name Paragon was also considered. The Shadows class name went through multiple iterations during early development. Some original concept art shows a dagger-wielding character named Alchemist. Some other names that were considered before the final decision include Trickster, Thief, and the Assassin. However, the Shadow was not the only class to receive a name change. The Marauder was originally called the Warrior, the Duelist called the Swordsman, and the Ranger called the Hunter. In early versions of the game, the passive tree only had one starting location in the middle, which would be the starting location regardless of the class the player chose. During these early versions of the passive skill tree, there was a small cutout that allowed you to continue seeing your character when viewing the skill tree. This was to allow players to see enemies attacking your character whilst in the full screen menu. Ultimately, this was dropped because once players had branched out away from the starting location, it was no longer possible to see the window and the character. During early development, many features and ideas were abandoned or removed from the game entirely. However, their data can still be found in the game's files. Gems like Backstab and Snipe have been in the game files for over 3 years, and according to Chris Wilson, managing director, these gems will probably never be released. The gem phase run was removed in January of 2013 because every single character was using it for the bonus movement speed, allowing players to clear through content much more quickly. Grinding Gear Games later introduced the Quicksilver Flask instead that grants bonus movement speed when consumed. However, since its removal, fans continued to ask if phase run would ever make a return. In November of 2014, the skill icon for the gem could be seen in a video trailer for the new Challenge League. Fans immediately spotted the icon and became hopeful for its return in the following patch. However, phase run did not actually return to the game. In May of 2015, during a closed beta test of the Awakening expansion, Chris Wilson was giving out beta keys in the global chat to whomever was first able to answer his trivia questions. One of those questions was, what previously removed skill gem is returning in the Awakening? And the answer was phase run. This finally confirmed the gem's return after 29 months since its removal. A feature that was dropped entirely during development was relics and altars. Relics were to be dropped from monsters and have various different character bonuses on them. Players needed to progress through the acts and unlock altars and then place a relic on an altar in order to receive a permanent bonus. This feature was a rework of charms from Diablo 2. Charms gave your character bonuses simply by having them in your inventory. Having relics be placed on altars rather than sit in your character's inventory solved the problem of character inventories always being full. In the end, the system was scrapped and turned into what we now know today as jewels. Another important feature that changed during early development is the flask system. Back then, flasks did not refill from monster kills, but instead from fountains scattered around in each zone. The team ultimately decided to drop fountains from the game because players would bring the monsters to the fountains and fight them beside it. This gave players an infinite supply of flask charges, so the team instead opted for flasks to refill when actually slaying enemies. Early prototypes of Path of Exile showed that players could actually equip cloaks. The team ultimately decided to drop the cloak item slot in order to make items more meaningful by having less of them. The other reason for dropping cloaks is because animating each character class would be too costly and time consuming for a team with a small budget. Located inside the game's data files are orbs and currencies that were never introduced to the game. Their file names help give an idea of what functions they would have served. Some of these may have been currency orbs that give the character attribute points permanently. Other interesting images include an orb that reduces the character level by 1. The image with spices may indicate that it was once possible to use this item for crafting flasks. The image of coins seems to show that the development team may have at one point experimented with the standard RPG currency system, but ultimately decided to adopt the bartering system we know today. Path of Exile takes place in the continent of Wraeclast, which loosely translates to Path of Exile in Old English. A large part of the game is inspired by Maori culture. These are real-world natives to New Zealand, the same country Grinding Gear Games is located in. The Maori culture is referenced in all sorts of ways, including on certain items like Matua Tupuna. This name means head, or knowledge of ancestors. The Marauder class is also heavily inspired by the Maori people. Players can purchase class-specific dance microtransactions, and the Marauder's dance has a strikingly similar look to the haka, a traditional ancestral dance that is still in use today, notoriously by the All Blacks, New Zealand's national rugby team. There is a monster in Path of Exile called the Necromancer that revives the undead and recites incantations. If you take the Necromancer's voice files and reverse them, the following quotes can be heard.
Nightmare, as I walk this, my power A man of faith placed me at the hut in my trailer.
Speeding up the reversed voice clips by about 45% reveals the Necromancer actually uses voice clips from the Templar. These voice clips come from the Templar's original trailer video.
As I rock this light power, a man of faith placed me at the hut in my trailer.
Interestingly, only one quote from the Necromancer is not found anywhere in the Templar video. That last quote, "in my trailer," may have been put there purposely by the developers in order to reference the Templar's trailer video as the source of these quotes. Thanks for watching this episode of Did You Know PoE. If you enjoyed the video, click the subscribe button below. If you're ready for the next episode, click the annotation on the left. G'day, I've been ZiggyD, and I've been your narrator for this episode. On my channel, I cover Path of Exile in depth, amongst other action RPGs. If you enjoyed my narration and would like to check out some more of my content, you can do so by clicking the annotation on the right. That's it for now, I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.